Welcome to Best in Class. My name is AJ Madden. I have the honor and privilege of helping individuals and organizations become best in class at what they do. I was really excited for today's interview with Eric Kuhn. We've had several conversations already about his philosophy towards life and business and success and service and excellence. And I was just blown away. From the first time I walked into Eric's store a few months ago, and you'll see why Eric is an award-winning entrepreneur and just a really special high-impact human being. So Eric is the owner of the award-winning Haberdashery men's clothing store in 40 Fort, Pennsylvania. The store has been open for a little over 7 years. Haberdashery has won the award for best men's store in the Scranton Times, Times Leader, and Citizens Voice every year since they opened. Eric has always enjoyed fashion. He went with his grandmother to a local luxury clothing boutique to find his grandfather a sport coat. While he was there, while there, he was talking with the owner, and the owner offered Eric a job. Eric has a bachelor's degree from Penn State in letter arts and science and a master's degree in business and communications from Marywood University. He is from Dixon City, PA, but has also lived for years in Rockall, Texas, where he graduated high school. He has always loved fashion ever since he was a kid. Back to school was his favorite time of year because he got to go back to school shopping, which is pretty awesome. I love that story. I love that detail. The store may be his proudest accomplishment so far, but he likes to stay modest. Eric also loves going to the gym and is trained in boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, and Sambo. He loves to travel and loves music. Eric, welcome to Best in Class. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, AJ.
You're welcome, sir. And in honor of this podcast, this episode, I'm wearing a Robert Barrackett sweatshirt that I got from Eric recently. It is my new favorite sweatshirt. If you are in the area, if you're in 44 in Northeast PA, stop in at the Haberdashery. It is a special place. Everything he sells there is quality. I mean, I've gotten several Robert Barrackett t-shirts and the sweatshirt from him, and they're some of my favorites. He's such a curator of excellence, right? And everything in the store and also in service and in serving others, which we'll talk about here today. And I'm going to ask a question I don't usually ask, but since I'm just impressed by your life and how your dedication to your work and your health. And can you tell us what your morning routine looks like and a typical day in the life of a very successful business owner looks like for you?
Sure. So I'll tell you, um, for the store, I work Tuesday through Saturday. I take Sunday and Monday off. But when you're an entrepreneur, you don't really ever have days off, especially with cell phones now. Clients can always get me. But I'm up around between 5:30 and 6 a.m. every day. I have a small meal, and then I'm at the gym for between 2 to 3 hours. My phone's usually off at that point, even though I will get messages from clients. And the gym is that's my only solace. That's my me time. Once I'm done there, phone's on. I may be getting calls. I may be getting emails or messages, but I shower and dress. And then every morning before I come to the store, I have a tailor who's been in the same business as me for longer than I've been alive. So every morning, whether or not I have tailoring, I go see him with a coffee and I listen. He has forgotten more about this business than I may ever have the chance to learn. So I just try to be a sponge. Um, and then I leave his shop and come to mine and open at 11 every morning. And then clients could be coming, inventory can be coming, any of that stuff. And I work till 5, but the clock never ends. If it's 7 o'clock at night and I get a message, I've opened this store at midnight for a client before. I've been here at 4 a.m. for a client. I've done deliveries and things like that. So you never, the standard is, gym, tailor, store. Who knows what could be thrown into the mix any day of the week, though.
Okay. Well, so many great principles already there, and just that explanation of your day. And maybe I'll talk about a handful here just to spotlight them. One is that exercise time in the morning, which is beautiful, and first thing in the day, and that solace. Where if you're a high impact leader, an entrepreneur, an executive, a doctor, a parent, a school teacher, law enforcement, you're often, especially like you said, with cell phones, we're bombarded with messages. So we have to
Constant.
have that shutdown time constantly, in demand. So we have to have that shutdown time, for part of our day. I'm a strong believer in that. It's a good mental reset, gives ourselves space to think, process, organize our thoughts. So I love that habit. I love that you meet with a mentor every morning and have coffee with somebody, like you said, who's been in the business longer than you've been alive. That's just so beautiful for so many reasons. And I love that you're so accessible to your clients. That you're just all in on service, whether it's 4 in the morning or midnight or whatever. I've worked a long day. I'm going to show up for my clients and their needs. What a great yeah, what a great practice. I mean, you just walk the walk. You don't just talk the talk in terms of success. You walk it, and a lesson for all of us, that's what it takes. I mean, if you want to be, win best of awards 7 years in a row and from all your local media since day one, it's going the extra mile. It's doing a little extra to serve.
I always say actions, not words. I can make all the promises in the world. Do I show up and follow through? If my actions match my words, then you're set.
Oh, well said. Well said. And that's everything, isn't it? I believe that's the most important, powerful principle in all of business. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it.
Oh,
You said
absolutely.
it. It's that simple, right? It's
It
that
is.
simple. Uh,
I
yeah,
will under promise. That's what I always try to do.
under promise, over deliver.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. That's right. That's right. And this is what it takes in anything, business success, to be a successful parent, school teacher, whatever job you have. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and then just over deliver at every opportunity. So we've gotten some great lessons already just in Eric's daily routine. Now, what are 3 to 5 key mindsets that will help someone to become best in class at what they do?
Well, first, if you're just in it for money, you're not going to be the best. You have to love what you do. There's many jobs I could be doing right now with my degrees where I can make far more money, but my heart wouldn't be in it. When you love what you do and you have a passion for it, you're not really ever working, and half the work's already done because, like you said, I've been reading GQ since I was a kid. I already have all the knowledge. I don't think twice about going to the tailor in the morning and just sitting there and listening to him. It doesn't even feel like work to me. So it makes my life a lot easier because I love what I do. Um, I think a mindset I learned in recovery is nothing's ever that bad. You know, People will get stuck in the woe is me when something bad comes along. I try to look at it as a challenge, see how I can overcome it, and maybe there's going to be something that I can learn or even toughen myself up.
Mm.
I don't believe in negativities. I think everything can have a positive aspect at some point or another, even if it's just a lesson learned or toughening you up for something else down the line. Um, yeah, if you enjoy what you do and you really believe in it, the rest is just going to come naturally. My clients never really have to question my knowledge or my impact because I walk the walk. Like we said before, actions, not words. If you follow through, I've had to tell clients no before, and they know if I say no, it's probably just not possible because I will go to the ends of the earth to do
Mm.
whatever I can for them. And I don't usually get questioned about that because I've already shown them how far I'll go for them.
Oh, I see. And again, that's do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Actions are more powerful than words.
Yeah,
And and you mentioned me, or you shared with me before, a philosophy you had: roadblocks aren't permanent, and you touched on that in terms of challenges. You said roadblocks aren't permanent, and you can go over them, under them, around them, remove them. Nothing cannot be overcome.
absolutely. And usually there's going to be some kind of lesson in there that you may not have learned on your own. You know, College was great. Um, I think it was important, but it didn't teach me, a degree in business isn't actually owning a business. completely different things.
Mhm.
And I just think that going to work every day and just any problem that comes along, just there's always a solution. There's always going to be a solution if you will put the work in or the time.
Oh, well said. There's always going to be a solution if you're willing to put in the work and the time.
Yeah.
Simple words to live by, and it works. There's a mentor of mine, Dr. Jason Selk, wrote a book called Relentless Solution Focus. And he says maybe the most important thing he ever wrote was there is always a solution. Always.
Oh,
That's what it
absolutely.
takes.
Yeah. If you will put in the effort, if you want the solution, you will find it.
I believe it. I believe it. And it's just a powerful way to live. It reduces our stress when we think like that. Instead of thinking about, failure or everything that can go wrong or I'm stuck, just thinking about solutions is a great anxiety and stress reliever as well. It's also empowering to think that there's always a solution. It's a very empowering thought. The opposite is a weakening thought. I believe you also talked about shared with me confidence is key, but arrogance will be your downfall. I thought that was a great thought.
Oh, absolutely. Um, it's okay to know what you know, but the moment you get cocky or it's flying too close to the sun, those wings are going to fall right off.
Yeah.
You don't need to be arrogant or cocky or a jerk, but you can be confident in what you know. And I think people can read that. I think if you come in and you just talk to somebody, even if they're a complete stranger, you can tell, okay, he knows what he's talking about, or oh, this arrogant ass, like you don't want to deal with someone like that. And cockiness almost it makes people doubt you. If you come in, like you said about say what you're going to do and do what you say, if you're full of yourself and you overpromise, who's going to trust you? People don't like arrogance. We don't, those are the heels in wrestling and stuff like that. We don't like the cocky guys.
No, not the ones that can't back it up, especially.
Yeah, but
That's
confidence isn't a bad thing. If I always say, do you want the surgeon that holds your hand is super sensitive, but you're not sure about how good he is, or do you want the surgeon that tells you what it is and you know he's the best?
okay. That's a perfect example right there. Can you say that one more time? I thought that's awesome.
If you're going in for surgery, do you want the one that's super nice and sensitive and holds your hand, but maybe isn't that good? Or do you want the guy that's straight to the point, maybe a little rude, but you know he's the absolute best? I'll always take the jerk surgeon if he's the best.
Yeah. Well said. That's right. And you want someone who's got that self belief earned through being good at what he does or she does.
Absolutely. In any interaction, when you hear, I think so, maybe, you're not going to be confident in that. And so the confidence is two ways. If you're a confident seller, the buyer will be confident. It just in both ways.
Well said. That's right. That's right. It's contagious. That confidence is contagious.
And
If the seller is confident,
I have clients that are confident, I don't want this, and I will not show them it. I have some clients that don't know what they want, or maybe they have an idea, but they're not sure. They don't have the confidence, but if I start to ask questions, they will have confidence in, I definitely don't want blue, or I definitely don't want cotton. And that helps me find them what they need.
oh, well said. Well said. Great examples. I mean, if you're the seller and you're confident, the buyer will feel confident. If you're the surgeon who's confident in the success of the surgery, the patient's going to feel more confident. It's called the expectation effect, the Pygmalion effect in psychology.
Okay.
There's some good studies on exactly what you're talking about. And we want a doctor who's confident in our recovery, who's
Oh,
confident in our ability to heal, to get better. It has a direct effect, according to the Pygmalion effect in psychology. That has a direct effect on someone's ability to get better. The doctor telling them that I believe you can get better. I believe you can heal. I believe you can beat this. You can overcome this. You'll be better than ever. It's a big deal. It's a
and
big
that affects
deal. That affects their healing, recovery. ability to overcome. It's incredible, and even in the Pygmalion effect, someone in any leadership position can apply this. This is one of my all-time favorite principles of life and leadership. When you're in a position of authority, your belief in someone who follows you has a direct effect on their performance. The opposite of that is called the Gollum effect, where when your lack of belief in someone, whether that's your patient if you're a doctor, your child if you're a parent, your student if you're a teacher, your player if you're a coach, your employee if you are a manager, if you don't believe in them and their ability to do great things, that can have a very detrimental effect. To the contrary, if you believe in them and tell them so and really believe it in your heart and your mind, you're not just saying it to say it, you believe they can get better, they can achieve great things, that has a direct effect. And if we all think about this, anyone who's listening through life, someone who told us they believed in us, or someone who just we knew believed in us, that we could do great things and be successful, whether that was a family member or a parent or a coach or a boss, it's very powerful. I wish everyone understood and knew the Pygmalion effect and the Gollum effect in a leadership position, because this world would be a whole different place. And that's what you're practicing. You're talking about that with surgeons, and you're also practicing that with your clients and saying, hey, this is going to look great on you. This is exactly right. You're going to feel great. You're going to look great in this. You've done it for me, in terms of this is perfect for you. It's the right color. It's the right shape. It's the right size. It's the right style. You're going to love this. You look great. That's important. You and I talked about this: look good, feel good, do good.
Oh,
Coach Prime, Deion Sanders said, look feel good, play good, pay good. Right. And that was, uh,
prime
I
time.
believe it's true. Yeah. Prime time, Coach Prime. He's got some wisdom. I mean, he's had success. Yeah, I think there's definitely something to that. In psychology, that's called enclothed cognition. You and I had talked about that before. Enclothed cognition, where an article of clothing can actually make us feel better and perform better. The study they did was with kids put on Superman costumes or superhero costumes, and they would go out and they would behave more confidently. Same thing applies to a good suit, a good shirt, a good pair of shoes, whatever it is. It can really have an effect on us to make us feel better about ourselves. And this isn't in a shallow, narcissistic, any of the, it's not about that. It's about, it's okay to look good and feel good. It's okay to feel good about yourself if you look your best. That's okay. To your point, we're not talking about being arrogant and looking down on others and feeling like we're better than others, because that's the downfall. You touched on
Right.
that earlier. We're just talking about, I feel good about myself. I'm going to do my best because I feel my best. And I think that's important. I think what you do is so important in your store, to make people feel their best.
Absolutely. And I would say, you don't need to go get something ludicrously expensive or something with a big logo emblazoned on it.
Mm.
It doesn't, if you got a $2,000 hoodie that didn't fit well and you got a $20 hoodie that did fit well, every day I would tell you to wear the $20 hoodie, because branding's part of what we do, but it's not that important. It's quality, fit, and function.
Mm.
And you will feel better in the thing that fits you better and that you look better in. Some people
Oh,
forget,
well said.
but that's part of my job.
Oh, well said. Great advice. Great advice. And do you have any tips for executives, CEOs, doctor, school teacher, anybody who wants to look their best? What are some of Eric's rules of looking your best in terms of attire? You touched on a few there, but what's your overall principles, would you say?
So I'll give you principles for just dressing in general, but when you're talking about leadership roles, first and foremost, they say be the change you want to see. You've got to figure out what you want from your staff, your followers, and then you need to set the bar a little bit higher than that. I can't tell you that you should be wearing a suit every day if I come in sweatpants. I have to do better than what I'm asking you to do as far as being a leader. So, whatever environment, Zuckerberg, Musk, they have more laid back, relaxed environments, so they can wear jeans and a t-shirt or sweats because that's the atmosphere they're going for. But as a leader, you have to set the bar, you have to set the precedent. So I would ask what your company whether it's branding or not, for a clothing store, I'm my brand every day I walk out. If you're the executive of mobile or something like that, it may not matter, but what do you want the corporate feel to be like and set the example? And then there's just, um, you know what you look best in. If you have, blondish hair and pale skin, maybe don't wear yellow or orange. Like, it's not hard to figure out your colors. Depending on your shape, certain patterns will look better, certain patterns won't look good. Vertical stripes on a tall person makes them look very tall, so that might be a little too much. Horizontal stripes on a larger person might make them look even bigger. And once you get, what colors look good, things like that, the rest of it should come together fairly easy. And I'm sure I'm not the only guy around. There's got to be people all over the world that, if you're, I think the biggest thing in life is don't be afraid to ask for help. I've been in the business, my own store for over 7 years, like you said, but I also worked with a mentor for 8 years before that. And I still go to my mentor's competitor every morning and talk to him and I listen because I'm always going to be a sponge for knowledge. So I think men more so are afraid to ask for help. I don't know if it's a machismo thing, but I have men come in here all the time saying, Eric, I want to look like this. And they bring me pictures. And I'm like, okay, we can do that. We can do that very easily. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. But if you're a leader, you have to set the bar because you can't expect something from someone else if you're not doing it yourself.
Well said. Okay. Boy, some great principles there and some great specific tips as well. And it really segues into my next question of what are some key habits of success? And you touched on one there. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's just so crucial. That's a theme that comes up over and over again with the best performers in the world. Kobe Bryant, Steve Jobs, they all talk about ask for help, ask questions, be curious, learn, humble yourself. So you touched on that one already. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help and knowledge and advice. What are some other key habits of success would you like to share that you believe are really important for anyone that you've practiced and you believe are important?
So, touching on what you just mentioned about the asking for help, something very crucial I learned years and years ago is if you see somebody have what you want, don't be afraid to go ask them how they got it. Even if let's just say it's materialistic and you want a Lamborghini and you're somewhere out in public and you see a guy with a Lamborghini, go ask him. He's probably going to be more than thrilled to tell you what he did to get it because he got it. He's probably proud of it. And most people aren't afraid to share and help one another. It's generally most of us are afraid to ask. So whenever you see someone have what you want, when I was doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I had a hard time with taking the back. One of our other students was very good at it. I asked him, he would stay for an hour after class and just work with me on that. He had absolutely no, I just had to ask. I think a lot of us forget that we can ask one another, social anxiety, things like that. So that would be a big thing. And then what was the question again? Key habits for success?
Key habits. And that's such a great one you said. Oh, just such a great one. What are some other key habits?
Well, we touched on me going to the gym first thing in the morning. And I will say one of the big reasons I do that is um, you never know what the day can throw at you. If I were to go to the gym at night, I might get a client call me and need me to stay late. I might have a really rough day where I get out of work and I'm too tired to go. So I set my
Mhm.
schedule what works best for me. Now, I'm not saying everyone should do the morning thing, but I'm saying everyone should know their routine. And if you know yourself and I'm never going to go to the gym at night, well, then how do you get to the gym in the morning? If you say, like, oh, traffic is so bad, I can't do this, well, can you readjust your schedule to get where you want to go? Like, I think sometimes we get out of ourselves and we're very good at making excuses. If we know what we want and we set the expectations for ourselves, we need to demand it from ourselves and deliver it, because no one's going to come help us. It's all on us. So whatever our goal is, we need to figure out how do we achieve that goal. And then I'm very big on notes. I'm very big on planning. I make a list every day of everything that I need to accomplish. And it's very odd, the sense of satisfaction I get from checking something off of that to-do list. It makes me feel, it's almost like a high. And that's just how I've implemented. I know I can't work out at night because I might be too tired, but just know our life is very consistent. So if we know what's going to happen and we know I'm not going to do this at night, I need to do it in the morning, or I'm not a morning person, we can set ourselves up for success as long as we're realistic about ourselves. People say, oh, I'm going to lose 100 pounds, but they know they won't exercise. They know they won't watch what they eat. Well, that's not realistic. What's realistic for you to get to that goal and then execute?
Oh, well said. Well, that makes the complex simple, right? No need to overcomplicate it.
I think we all overcomplicate things. What's the goal? How do I get there? And once again, we touch back on asking for help. If you want to lose weight and you probably know someone who did, how did they do it? If you know 4 people, how did the 4 of them do it? And which of those habits would work for you? Which ones wouldn't? I think people have this all or nothing mentality where if I say, this is how I built my store, you think you have to do it verbatim, but maybe you don't. Maybe some of the things I did aren't for you. Maybe there's some things that you would want to do that I didn't think of or didn't suit me. Take what you need from what other people have to offer you and leave the stuff you don't need. You don't need to take it all.
Oh, well said. Well said. What's your definition of excellence, Eric?
Ooh, that was the question I had a hard time with. Excellence has excel in it, so it's got to be going above and beyond. Exemplary, the extra effort, the extra time, the extra attention to detail. I To me, excellence is just, I feel like you have to strive past your grasp. If you're always striving past what you can reach, you're going to hit what you're reaching. Shoot further than where you want to be. They say in boxing, if you want to punch somebody, you aim your fist, 5 inches behind where you want to hit them so that you go through.
That's
It's the
right.
same thing with anything in life. If you want to be excellent, if you want to make $1 million, set the plan to make 5 million. If you fall short, you may still hit the million. Just set your goals higher. Set your goals, but execute for a higher past the goal.
Oh, well said. That's a great way to put it. Set your goals and then execute for a higher goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Execute on a higher, and you'll blow past your goal most likely. Not
Your
just
reach,
achieve it, but you'll go past it.
right?
Oh, sorry.
Your reach should always exceed your grasp. You should always be
Well
reaching
said.
you can grab.
That's right. That's right. And eventually you get there. Like you
Absolutely.
said, when you set your process to get there, well said. Well said. How about service? What's your definition of service?
Well, I can tell you, I think of what I would like and expect to be treated, and I just go way beyond that for other people. So, service is doing the things that you don't need to do because you want to or you choose to, I would say. You know, um, the waitress that checks on me 10 times instead of 3, I'm going to give a much bigger tip. I think, especially with this digital technology, we forget to make each other feel seen and heard. If you could come in here and say, I want this, but I know something else will look better on you. Listening to you is the best way of service. It's not about me. It's not about me at all. My only job is to serve you. So I would say listening and seeing. People don't feel seen or heard anymore. It's, what can I sell you that has the highest margin in retail? Like, where do I get the biggest commission? That's all nonsense.
Mm.
The money comes. It will come sooner or later. It might come in dribs and drabs, but service isn't reaching for the money. It's making the client feel seen, making them feel heard. And to me, that it's that simple. If you come in, sometimes people don't know what they want, but subconsciously they do. And if I talk with them and listen, they can tell me what they want that they didn't even realize they knew.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's just
That,
how
it makes
I work
sense.
on complex things.
Uh, it's expert listening, seeing and hearing, as you're talking about just being that expert listener and just, and it's rare. A mentor of mine, Gannon Baker, good friend, he says, your presence is a present.
Oh yeah,
Just being present, it's a gift because it's another great communications expert, Olivia Fox Cabane, talks about how rare it is that people are fully present with anybody for a lot of reasons. One, you mentioned it, cell phones and digital devices, where we're just not present with the person next to us or in front of us. Or even if it's not a digital device, our mind is somewhere else. But what you're doing, and I felt this in your store with you, is that you were fully present with me and listening to me and what I was looking for and what I was aiming for. So I've really experienced it with you. It's a gift. I mean, it really is a present to be present with someone else, even for a minute, is a gift, and it's very rare. And if you can do it, it makes you very rare. It makes you a rare person and a valuable person to others.
it's a shame that it's rare, but you're correct. It is. And like you said, it makes us who do it stand out.
Oh, well said. Why challenge everybody listening or watching this right now to just take a minute and be present with someone today? Just for a minute, a full presence. Put the cell phone down, put any thoughts you have about what you need to do or what already happened to you today, and just be present with another person, even just for 60 seconds today. That's my challenge for everybody listening. Pick someone and do that today. Um,
It's a good
Eric,
challenge.
it's a good
I
challenge,
like
isn't it?
that.
And I'm gonna take it on myself today for sure. Like
Okay.
you said, we have to live by example. Do what you say you're gonna do. You got to, as a leader, you have to live by example. Be the change you want to be see in the world. And so I'm gonna take that challenge on myself today. And I appreciate
Okay.
the explanation and your thoughts on listening and making people feel seen and heard. That's real presence. So next question: what's a big hardship that you overcame in life, personal or professional?
Well, first, let me say that I put it on myself. I'm a recovering heroin addict, but everyone wants to show me sympathy, but I picked the drug up. That was on me. So I would say that was one of my biggest hardships. And then I would also say professionally, COVID was quite tough. I knew people in business 40, 50 years that had never seen anything like that. Here I am 4 years in. I have a business partner that doesn't want to be in the business, so I have to buy him out while I'm trying to figure out what's happening. Is my store staying open or the doors being locked? It was quite an interesting time, and I will say that thankfully, like I found ways to work around it. I started selling some of my brands made masks, so I just started selling masks, and I would come into the store and I would take them outside to the parking lot or do deliver in the mailbox and have them pay over the computer. So once again,
Wow.
there's always a solution for every problem.
Mm.
And drug addiction, as bad as it was, I think it made me mature a lot faster than I would have naturally. And I think it gave me a much better view on the world. In my addiction, I had the nice car, I had the nice clothes, I was still getting good grades in school, but no one knew like what was going on inside of my mind or my body. So while the facade was there, no one understood what I was going through. But that has taught me, someone comes in, they can look happy and healthy. It doesn't mean they are. So I always try to show sensitivity, understanding that, someone could be rude to me, but maybe it's the worst day of their life. I don't know. So I don't need to be rude back. Things like that help me.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the most powerful stories shared on this podcast, one of my all time favorite stories I've ever heard anyone share, period, in my life, in terms of how you interpreted the hardship of addiction and overcoming it and looking at others. You never know what battle they're fighting. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh, I can tell you, I was clinically dead. I overdosed, and I was 2 shots of Narcan and electric paddles. I was in a coma for 3. But COVID, things like that, what could it do to me? I've
Mm,
already, died and came back. Nothing's that bad. That's my view on the world. Nothing's that bad. We'll get
mm.
through it. And if we don't, it wasn't meant to be. Then, people will talk about rough financial years. Oh, Eric, the store might close. Well, it might. I'll go on. I've always
Yeah.
gone on.
I'll go on. I'll always go on.
Yeah. But all of us, nothing is too much to overcome.
Mm, okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to offer a second challenge to the audience. I'm not going to do too many of these challenges today, but you just make me think. A second challenge for the audience is to think about one major hardship that you've overcome in your life, right? The biggest hardship you've overcome, and that you're still standing, you're still here, you're still listening to this right now,
Yeah.
right? And give yourself some credit, if you're listening to the big hardship, personal, professional, that you overcame, and remind yourself of who you are and what you can handle, because that puts confidence in your bank account, mental bank account, for the future of what's next. And hey, I've handled this in the past. I can handle it. Like Eric said, there's always a solution. I'm going to keep moving forward. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story and lessons from it, sir. And I appreciate that. One of my all time favorites ever shared on this podcast. I told Eric before we started recording, this is going to be a powerful one. I knew it. Thanks for over delivering. If you could, who are 3 people you looked up to and learned from?
Well, I'll tell you that, like I said, this is an interesting story. I told you about my tailor. Every morning I go and have coffee with him. He was actually my mentor's competitor for 30 plus years. So when
Okay.
I opened, I don't know that he necessarily liked the idea because he sold suits. Now I sell suits, custom and otherwise, but I also have sportswear. He didn't. Um, Within 2 weeks of opening, I went over there and introduced myself, and that made a huge difference because it wasn't just some young kids coming to my neck of the woods. I went over there and I said, "My name's Eric. I understand you do men's clothing. I'm also going to be doing men's clothing. There's no reason for animosity. I know but maybe I could help you and you could help me." And now he does all of my tailoring. If I don't have something somebody needs, I send them to him. He sends people to me, and we've actually become very close. Now, I did do that with one other store that's a competitor, but he's more of a peer than a mentor.
Okay.
Um, my tailor, I've always looked up to because he did what I'm trying to do. Um, and then, like I said, my mentor who owned Friedman's Men's Clothing, I was just getting my grandfather a sport coat, and he just saw something in me when we were talking about clothes. He couldn't believe how much I knew or how excited I got about it. Because it's not normal. Not, some people like fashion or style, but to take your life savings and bet it on a store, that's not the norm. So he saw something in me, and he offered me a job. He worked around my school schedule, and then less than a year, he was taking me to Fashion Week. He was teaching me in-depth detail. It wasn't just I'm a stock boy. And I will never forget that, and I will always appreciate him until the day I die for doing that. So I really looked up to him. Um, and then I'd say my grandparents. They were the one constant in my life. I'm a child of divorce. Sometimes parents would be fighting or not fighting. My grandparents on my mom's side were always there for me.
Mm,
Even in drug addiction, they helped me. They took me to rehab. They I owe everything I have to them. And, they grew up with 5 kids. I want to say 14 grandkids, and they always did whatever they needed to take care of their family. My grandfather is one of the hardest working men I've ever known. I would say my grandmother is one of the hardest working women I've ever known. And they always put others above themselves. My grandfather would give me a penny even if he was 25 cents in debt. He just would always take care of the family.
Mm. I am sure they are both extremely proud of you. Uh, you describe their work ethic and their service to others, and that's you. That's you. That's been my experience knowing you. That just that work ethic and that just extreme dedication to service. I know they are both extremely proud that you're carrying on what they the way they live. Right, you're bringing that to the world through you.
Well, thankfully, my grandmother's still alive. She was here for my ribbon cutting. I bring her here to hang out sometimes. I've even taken her to Fashion Week and let her pick out stuff for the store, and she eats it up. So my grandfather
Oh,
passed away before I got to open the store, but maybe he's looking down on me. I'm not sure, but if he is, I hope he's happy.
oh, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's proud. It's something special, and I love that your grandmother gets to go to Fashion Week and pick out. Maybe did she pick out the sweatshirt I'm wearing by chance?
She was not there for that. I actually picked that out. But
Okay,
she
I'll give you.
she has picked stuff out for the men's, and she gets packaged. My reps love her. They'll send her stuff as gifts. It's just people are always like, "Where'd you get that?" And she's this cute little Polish lady, and she doesn't look like her age. She's dressed like a runway model. It's hysterical.
Oh, beautiful.
What are you putting? I'm like, don't worry, just wear it. She's like, okay,
She trusts you. You're the best.
yeah.
It sounds like you haven't let her down yet in terms of fashion advice.
Oh no, she'll come home, Eric. The girls at church, I think they're jealous of me because I'm wearing what is this? I'm like, that's Gucci. She's like, I don't think they liked it. I said, oh, well, screw them.
That's right. She's got to own it and and love it. Look good, feel good. Like we talked about. Well, I'm sure she's proud. I'm sure she's proud, man. The work ethic you talked about and your dedication to service. Maybe someday I'll get to meet her in the store one time, and to be an honor. It would be my honor to do that. Now, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would you choose? Could be one or two or three people, whoever you'd want to have dinner with historically, or someone current that's famous, famous for something. It could be politics or entertainment, or if the film, or just a world-renowned expert. Who would you have dinner with?
Well, there's one person that I'm a little obsessed with, I will say, is Jared Leto. And one of the reasons when we're talking about pursuit of excellence and things like that, but also, and I know you're a big proponent of this, being open to everything life has to offer. Maybe you don't want to do something or that's not your cup of tea, but you'll still try it just to say you did it. Um, I absolutely love Jared Leto. A lot of people don't know, he's a world famous actor. He's been in Fight Club and American Psycho, and he was Joker in Suicide Squad. But he started his own band, and he's the lead singer, songwriter, and guitarist for 30 Seconds to Mars. He also spent 3 years as being the face of Gucci. There's nothing that he seems to think is off limits. He's directed and produced movies. He's even written shorts. He's not afraid to take a chance. You hear, people made fun of Joaquin Phoenix when he wanted to get into music, and it didn't turn out that successful. Jared was successful, but he wasn't afraid to put it all on the line. He always liked music, so he said, "I'm going to put acting on the side," and he took a chance on himself. And far too many people will gamble, whether it's on money or on other people or ideas. Not enough of us gamble on ourselves.
Mm.
There's no such thing as a sure thing, but if you were to gamble on yourself, you're going to dictate the outcome far more than gambling on a sports team where you don't know any of the players. So
That's right.
the fact that he gambled on himself, I just think that really sticks out to me. And then obviously he got to be in the fashion world with Gucci just because of the career he made for himself.
Oh, I see. Great actor as well. Like you said, he was, I don't know if he won the Oscar for, I don't know if he won an
Dallas,
Oscar. I think he was nominated at least for one film.
I think Dallas Buyers Club.
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
yep.
Yeah,
And
he
then
was very good in that.
I know he was nominated for 30 Seconds as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, great choice. Great choice. Very well rounded. Again, he bet on himself. And when he goes in, he goes all in. Again, he went all in on Dallas Buyers Club in that film. He went all in on the Joker role. He
Yep.
went all in on 30 Seconds to Mars. And I'm sure he went all in on Gucci. So he gambles on himself and he goes all in, pushes
Yes,
all
I've
the chips in. Yeah. Gives it 100%. Great
he didn't
choice.
do the music. He was already, he had more money than he needed just acting. He said, let's try it. And he got his brother is a phenomenal drummer, but was in construction. So
Hmm.
in taking a chance on the band, he created a whole new life for he gave his brother the ability to create a whole new life for himself. He went from swinging a hammer on a construction site, working 50, 60-hour weeks to touring the world as the drummer of a band. And he got that opportunity because Jared helped him with it.
Oh, I see. Oh, beautiful story. Beautiful story. Right. It wasn't just about Jared. I mean, other people won too, as well. Other people had success, found success and happiness through him gambling on himself.
Yep, it was him, his brother Shannon, and then Tomo, who does keyboard and bass. And yep, so two other men. And then, they have fans all over the world. I've traveled to Austria to see them play. I went to New Jersey to see them play, and they have quite a large audience. And some of the music videos, you'll see the fans saying, "This music changed my life." So he's had a much bigger effect than you could even see.
Oh, I see. I see. He's also a UFC fan, I believe, too. I think he goes to some UFC fights.
Wouldn't surprise me. He is, if you were to look at the movies, he's done every role. He's done Innocent Angel, he's done a demon, he's straight, gay, he's played everything. There's nothing about him that's locked in a box. He seems, even in acting or music, if you were to listen to his first album or his last album, you may not realize it's the same band. And life's short. There's nothing wrong with taking a chance or trying something new. There's too much. We'll never get to try everything, but I don't want to be one of those people that didn't try anything.
Well said. Well said. Great life advice. Life is short. Take a chance. Go after your dream. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So go after, take that chance. Gamble on yourself, as you said. Great way to put it, too. Gamble on yourself.
I even do that with outfits. Um, Hulk Hogan has said that he's lost more matches than he's won, and people forget that.
Mm.
Um, I've done some outfits that were really crazy, and they did not look good. But I
Hmm.
never would have gotten the incredible outfits if I didn't, try. And there might be some failures, but failures are just, stepping stones to success. I think people forget that.
Oh, well said. That's right. That's a great point that, many, 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 well, all successful people have failed at things. I can't think of one who has not, whether it's sport or business or had a film that flopped or an album that flopped as an artist or a business that failed we started.
I love the story of Heinz. Is it like 57, the number on the bottle, because that was the number of recipes that failed before it was successful.
Okay.
If you're familiar with that, but the number on the Heinz ketchup bottle, that was what recipe and ended up being successful, which meant he had so many failures before that.
Oh, I see. No, I did not know that story. That's a great one. 57 times. It took 56 failures to get number 57.
Right. And the Heinz family's doing pretty okay.
Yeah, they are. That's right. They're doing well out in Pittsburgh there. They're doing
Yep.
well. Yeah, great example. The great example. And like you said, it's a stepping stone to success. As long as you keep going and learning, you fail and then you learn and you try a different iteration. I mean, it's really the scientific method. You have a hypothesis, you test it out, and if it fails, okay, what went right and what went wrong here, and then you test it again. As long as you're you're learning from each failure. Yeah, you don't, it doesn't have to be life ending or career ending or business ending, as long as you learn from it and improve something.
I'm trying to think. One of my mentors, I remember I was complaining about something, and they said, okay, well, now you know one thing that won't work. What's the next thing we're going to try? And I'm like, okay, it is that easy.
Mm.
I can sit here and cry about it for as long as I want, but the less time I spend crying about it, the more time I have to spend finding the next solution.
Well said. That's right. Great advice. Barbara Corcoran on Shark Tank, one of my all-time favorite shows. If you're an entrepreneur and you don't watch Shark Tank, you're missing out. There's some of
I
you see, there you go. Yeah. So you see, you watch it. There's some of the greatest business lessons you will ever hear on that show, ever see, ever hear. Um, and Barbara Corcoran talks about, really separates successful entrepreneurs and those who are not, or how quickly they bounce back from a failure or a mistake. I picture it as a rubber ball, right? Are you a rubber ball or are you a brick? Do you stay down there on the floor and or do you just bounce back quickly like a rubber ball every time there's a setback or a failure or a mistake? How quickly can you bounce back? And I think the next level of it is, you're a hoverboard, like in Back to the Future. You don't even hit the ground. You go down, you hover, and you come right back up. So you don't even touch the ground with failure. You just keep going. All right. You don't even
It's
stop to get to whine or cry about it. Yeah.
like Michael Jordan when he tried baseball.
Great example.
He came right back in what, 1 or 2 seasons. He had an NBA championship again.
That's right.
He, and but he wanted baseball his entire life, so he got to try it and he got to say he did it. It wasn't a failure. He always wanted to do it. He found out he was much better at basketball, but he tried it,
That's right. Well said.
and that
Well
was in the
said.
career.
That's right. That's right. Great entrepreneur, a great documentary for entrepreneurs, The Last Dance with Michael
Oh,
Jordan. And I'm sure,
absolutely.
yeah. So, yeah,
And there's another one called, I believe it's called Air, with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, that explains how Nike was failing and they took a chance on Michael Jordan.
that's right. That's another great documentary for entrepreneurs. It's a film, actually, not a
Yeah,
documentary, but a film. Great story. Great story. There's two great recommendations, Last Dance and Air. Beautiful stories of, just perseverance and setbacks and what it takes to win at the highest level and to don't be afraid to fail. Yeah, it is a great story because that really took Nike into the stratosphere. That story of Sonny Vaccaro saying we need to go all in on Michael Jordan, who was just in college at the time, coming out of college, and they said go all in on this guy, push all the chips in on Michael.
to this day, I still buy retro Jordans.
Ah.
My mom couldn't afford them when I was a kid, so now I'm an adult buying all the things I couldn't have when I was a child.
I love it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. You earned it. That's a beautiful story, sir. That's a beautiful way to think about it. I'm gonna, you know what? I've earned it now, and I'm gonna go back and get the things I couldn't get then. And yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. And yeah, it's the Jordan brand's very symbolic of a lot of things. I think for me, it is for sure of Michael Jordan's mentality and Nike's mentality, and I think it's beyond. I'm sure it is for you beyond just fashion. It's there's lessons in it. There's a story of the brand and the success they had.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Michael Jordan would be a great person to have on this video with you because I think he chases excellence as well.
Yes, sir, he does. Yes, sir, he does. Highest levels. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he'd be a great guest. Someday let's get him on. Let's
There
make
you
it
go.
happen. I'll have to wear a Jordan brand sweatshirt for that one when that happens. I don't want to take off my Robert Barrichet one though. It's too comfortable. But Michael, he's definitely one of my favorite performers of all time. The guy he talks about some of the very similar principles that you do in terms of being a sponge and learning, be coachable, go all in, be obsessed with practice, putting the repetitions in. Very similar philosophy to yours. 100% true. Eric, what's one of your favorite quotes?
Oh, there's a couple I would say, is the juice worth the squeeze? Kind of makes my life a lot easier because it can be applied to anything. Is what I'm going to get out of it worth the effort I'm going to have to put in? as an entrepreneur, anyone that wants to do anything, we're only given 24 hours in a day. And if there's something that you're not going to get a lot out of, but you have to pour hours into it, is it really worth it? Because we only have so many hours. We need to really choose what we're putting them towards, whether it's our goals, personal life, professional life. Where are we putting our, I think people focus too much on money and not enough on time, because that's the real commodity. And we don't really know how much of it any of us are going to have. And there's also, I'm going to mess up the Latin. I think it's odor at mentuant. And it's, I didn't come to bow, I came to conquer. And that doesn't have to be, I want to be the president of the United States, or I want to be some kind of dictator. It could be conquering a fear. It could be conquering a challenge. It could be, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start losing weight. There's all things that we need to conquer on a daily basis. And if we have the mindset that we're not going to bow to anything, we're going to conquer everything, I think that sets you up for a great success.
Two great quotes and two powerful lessons. Is the juice worth the squeeze? We need to value our time more than anything beyond money, because we can make more money, but we never get more time back. And I didn't come to bow, I came to conquer. And you had mentioned Bob Marley had said that. Did he say that in a song as well, or that was one of his philosophies?
It was one of his philosophies. I'm not sure if that ever made it into a song or not.
Okay.
But I do know I've seen multiple quotings of him saying that or saying things along those lines. So I do know something he highly believed in.
Okay. I've never heard that one before, and I really, really like that one a lot. Like you said, it doesn't have to be about conquering other human beings or being a dictator. It has to do with just conquering a goal. It could be conquering a fear, like you said, conquering a
He was
challenge.
a really peaceful man. He wasn't, a proponent of violence. So, but there's nothing we can't conquer, even if it's ourselves.
Most important thing to conquer. Oh,
Absolutely. And that's done on
yeah,
a daily basis.
that's right. That's right. Amen. What are some of your favorite personal development books or biographies or documentaries? We'd mentioned The Last Dance um, as one you thought was good in terms of documentaries. What are some other things you've learned from Shark Tank as well? You said you watched that.
I do watch that. I also watch on the History Channel, the cars that built America, the food that built America, the tycoon, because all of those were great men and women that did great things. Some of them did very bad things. Some of them weren't too humane to their employees, but there's always a lesson. If you hear, oh, this person sent the police to beat up employees who were on strike, there's still a lesson. Okay, I will never be a boss like that. I would never treat another person like that, whether it's good or bad. Carnegie, Rockefeller. There's always lessons. Um, I read Nikki Sixx's autobiography, The Heroin Diaries, because I'm in recovery. I read Slash's autobiography because I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan. Um, but I do love all those shows about building America. Uh, like I said, Air was a great documentary. Um, there's a lot to choose from. I would say all of those though.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I believe it's one of the secrets of high performers, biographies and documentaries. I really think that's a secret of high performance. Studying the greats, learning how they thought about things and how they talked about things and what they did, and also the mistakes they made so we can avoid them. Learning from our mistakes is important. Have to do it. Learning from success is more important.
I agree with you, and I will say, came to find, and I think you'll understand. Someone told me, learn from my mistakes so you don't have to go through them. When you're younger, you don't really grasp onto that. You got to do it yourself. You don't want to listen to someone else. Now that I'm older, I appreciate, all right, he already did that and it didn't work. Let me just skip ahead 2 steps and save myself some grief. I
Right.
didn't understand it when I was younger, but now I definitely do. So when I read those documentaries or watch those shows, you get stepping. I mean, there's basically a roadmap. These things don't work. These things do.
That's right.
Don't be afraid to try 57 times. It, it could be right around the corner, your little key to success.
Well said. Well said. Success leaves clues, as Jack Canfield says. Author of the Success Principles, one of my favorite books. Success leaves clues, and that's what you're talking about. There's a roadmap here, right in front of us, and we can see that roadmap through biographies, through documentaries, and through books by experts in different fields. I mean, there's only to me there's just a few shortcuts to success. There are shortcuts. Number one is mentorship, which you've done over the years.
Absolutely.
Um, Number two is modeling, studying successful people and modeling their behaviors and words and actions. And the third is most impactful books. Just reading as much as you can about success of all types, and those are the biggest shortcuts. They're out there. And again, you said it great. I think smart people learn from their own mistakes, but geniuses learn from the mistakes of others. I think
I like.
that's Yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's such a shortcut, all right, to take the time to do that. And it's not that difficult, especially with all the information we have access to at our fingertips with our phones. We can download audiobooks and digital books and watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts. What's your proudest accomplishment to date?
Um, I would say that when I got clean and sober, I became the person I was supposed to be for all of my loved ones. Um, I don't know pre addiction if I was on track to be the person I am now, but the person I am now is always there for anyone in need, anyone I will drop everything I'm doing to help anybody. And I don't know if I would have done that if I hadn't gotten into addiction and recovery. So getting clean really uh, helped convert me into the person I was supposed to be.
Okay. What a powerful thought. What a powerful thought. What is one piece of advice you would give someone starting out in their career or business?
Make sure you love it.
Yes. Yes, sir. I've nothing to add. Thank you. Uh, if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't take it too seriously. Anything at all, ever.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. Oh, two great piece of advice. That's all I have. Where can listeners find you online and where can people go um, to find you in your store? Where do we find you?
So there's thehab900.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook as the Haberdashery. And then we're in 40 Fort, Pennsylvania, 900 Rudder Ave.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you for a lot of things today. One, thank you for this great sweatshirt, one of my favorites. Two, thank you for all, most importantly, the wisdom and the stories that you've shared and the lessons, life lessons, business lessons. Thanks for your service to everybody that you serve. Um,
Well,
you're an
thank you.
inspiring guy. Yeah,
Yes.
you're one of those inspiring people I've met in a long time. I'm always looking for new heroes, and every day, who can I admire? Who can I look up to? Who can inspire me? And you're definitely one of those people. And I think you'll be that for a lot of people listening and watching. Congrats on your success, well deserved success, award winning success. And I'm proud to call you a friend, and I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to our next conversation.
Me too, and thank you. I was trying to say that having people on here is a very big service that you provide. It gets us out there for more people to see than ever would. And I absolutely love our conversations, and I loved this. So thank you.
Oh, honored, sir. Honored. Looking forward to the next conversation. Take care.
You too.